Yeah.
Good morning and welcome to what is now episode 9 of the 12 Man podcast. Let's continue to grow. So we've got a couple of new people joining us today. We have got, sadly, far too much red on my screen for my liking. However, I didn't make this a selective thing, so I will allow the Liverpool fans, the United fans, and even Bailey Sagar, who's decided to put his away shirt on today, to poison my screen with red. The topics that we are discussing today is another big week in football. We're at the business end of the season. Trophies have been won by my team. Trophies are still to be won by my team. But there are other issues to discuss in the world of football. I will start with Mr. Marcus Briggs and his bunch of hooligans from down the road. You probably saw, unless you had your head buried in the sand over the weekend, that there was a rather forceful protest that spilled into the ground at Old Trafford and resulted in the postponement of the football match between Liverpool, which would have seen City win the title with a Liverpool win. I'm not trying to be controversial here, I'm just speaking of facts. I will give my opinions on it at some point, but I want to start with Briggsy. It's been a long time since these guys have been in your club, and there's been various protests, but nothing for a while. Why now? And did it go too far? Is what I'm interested in today, Briggsy. Was it the right kind of protest, but done in the wrong way?
No, I think it should have been they kept it outside.
Okay.
And just protest whilst the game was happening.
Right. So you think that the crowd should have gathered maybe whilst the game was going ahead, made a lot of noise, set off a load of flares, had a lot of banners, but allowed the game to play, is what you're saying? Can I throw this at you, Briggsy, as a United fan? Should there be a consequence? Should there be a consequence for the club because the fans acted in a bad way? Or should it just be accepted because the ownership is seen as a bad thing at United?
I think it should be accepted because I think the Glazers should be forced to sell it.
Okay, so interesting. So I think a lot of fans would agree with you, but I think that would be very, very difficult to force some very stubborn gentlemen to part with an asset that's worth £1.5 billion, as I think United is currently valued at. So, or something along those lines. Right, Wellesley, what are you saying then? So you're a level-headed kind of guy like Marcus. You saw the pictures on TV. I presume you weren't there, Harry. No, you weren't part of the hooligan squad that went down to Old Trafford. Most of it was peaceful, I think. There was obviously some guys who took exception, and that happens in protests, unfortunately. Did you agree with the cause, Harry? And subsequent question: Do you think that it went too far, even if you agree with the cause?
Yeah, I think that I don't blame them for protesting because I think that they need to go, so I don't blame them. But yeah, I think they took it too far, like hurting the staff members and that. Yeah,
there was a police officer who had a wound to his face, wasn't there? Which is very unfortunate for the officer. I think obviously a bit of damage was done inside the stadium, which is obviously quite ugly. Same question as Marcus though, Harry. Do you think United? I'm not saying that this should happen personally, but should they be fined? Should they be should the Glazers be made to make a public apology because of the conduct of the fans and what's led to it? Should there be a points deduction? Is that going to make any difference at this stage of the season? Probably not. Do you think there should be a further consequence, Harry, or should we just write this off as another protest against the Glazers?
Yeah, I think it should be a consequence.
Right. Okay. And if I tell you what, then I'll hand it to one of the other guys who are not a United fan, who's coming up with the best consequence here. What's going to hurt United the most, or what's going to stop this kind of thing happening again? Because United have now got 4 games in 8 days because of the rearranged fixtures and the fact they're in Europe. Should the consequence be severe, or should it be a slap on the wrist and don't do it again?
12-point deduction.
Okay. Who said that there? Sorry, I couldn't see him on screen. Who was it?
Jaden.
12-point deduction. Okay. Which I think would have an impact because I think United would then be struggling for a top 4 spot if it was a 12-point deduction. I think that's quite harsh, personally, but I can understand. And there's a little kid inside of me that wants to agree with you there, Jaden, for obvious reasons, because I don't like United. But I can't see it being a 12-point deduction. Anyone got anything else that they're suggesting they should throw at United? Are we just happy? I think, for me, I agree with all of you, what you said so far. It went too far. It shouldn't have gone inside the stadium. It shouldn't have turned violent. But I suppose the guy who likes the idea of protest inside me suggests that you only protest at a time when it's going to have maximum impact. Well, there would have been millions of people across the world tuning in to see that game, who instead of watching the game saw a lot of people on the pitch and protesting. So probably did have a big impact. I don't see the Glazers going now. I don't see them going. I don't see how they can be forced to sell. I don't think they need to sell. And also, I want to play slightly devil's advocate here, boys. And this is mainly at the United fans, but maybe the Liverpool fans and the Blackburn fans and West Ham fans and Burnley fans amongst us will argue. I think they do invest in the team. I think the numbers speak for themselves. I think they invest badly. I think Woodward is the problem. But I think they've had a lot of payoffs for managers who haven't worked out. I think they've bought players like Di Maria for 60 million and then sold him for 30 million a year later that haven't worked out. I argue that Paul Pogba isn't worth 100 million pounds, and I still don't think he is. Arguably one of United's better players this year has been a free transfer in Edison Cavani, who is at the wrong end of his career as well. So I think the Glazers do invest. I know they take money out for themselves, but they do still invest in the squad. They just invest it badly, in my opinion. And that is partly to do with the chief executive who will leave at the end of the season. Okay? Right. I promise I'm not going to make this about City, so I'm not even going to talk about City. By the way, they got to the Champions League final. That's all I'm going to say. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. Ruben, what were your thoughts over the last couple of days? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? All English Champions League final. Chelsea have made it as well. And then Arsenal doing Arsenal things and getting beat by their ex-manager last night for Villarreal. But United, even though they lost in Rome, going through comfortably on aggregate. What do you think about the state of English football at the minute, Ruben? Is it in good shape?
I think that Chelsea did all right. They didn't score the chances that they had.
Yeah.
One in the 85th minute.
Yeah.
Just a tap-in by Mason Mount.
Did you watch the game, Ruben, on Wednesday for Chelsea?
Yeah.
I read, I didn't see it, I saw the highlights, but were Madrid awful?
Yeah, they didn't.
Look tired.
The fitness weren't up.
Yeah.
They weren't playing like they usually do.
Yeah. So you think on a different day, maybe Chelsea might have struggled against Madrid? Because actually 1-1, it was a finely poised game from the first leg, wasn't it? But they obviously let themselves down on Wednesday. Is that Tuchel? Is that Tuchel being a great manager, or was it Lampard being a poor and inexperienced manager, do we think? And this is just, I'm throwing it out there just to everybody at the minute, not just Ruben. Ruben I'm sure will answer, but anyone else wants to say anything on it can do. What do you think, Ruben?
I think that Thomas Tuchel's a really good manager. Obviously, he has experience from PSG. So, yeah, I think he's very good.
He got to the Champions League final last year, didn't he? Yeah. He'd be hoping to go one better. Obviously, I'm hoping that that's not the case. Right, so what about, did anyone watch City on Tuesday? And if you did you think we were good? Because I thought we were pretty good. I thought we would deserve victories overall. And I thought Paris Saint-Germain lost their heads when they went 2-0 down and obviously getting guys sent off. Anyone want to say anything on City before I skim over it? Because I'm conscious that I'm a City fan.
Yeah, so I think they're unstoppable and they're just a good team.
That is music to my ears, obviously. I thought, I wouldn't say unstoppable because anything can happen. It's a Champions League final at a neutral venue. And I am worried about Chelsea because Chelsea beat City in FA Cup the other week. However, City versus Chelsea is obviously in the league this weekend, so there's a kind of an early opportunity to see them go up against each other before they do in Istanbul in 3 weeks' time, which would be interesting. I'm going to put it out to the guys on Bailey's group at the minute, Harrison and co. The Champions League final still due to take place in Turkey, in Istanbul, which has got high COVID rates at the minute. Does it make sense I think 4,000 fans from each team are supposed to be permitted to the ground on official travel packages. Does it make sense to do that in the times that we're at, or should it be played maybe in Europe, somewhere else in Europe, as in the UK, closer to home, where the COVID impact would be less? What do you think?
Well, I guess it is what it is, isn't it? But obviously, with City and Chelsea going through to final, that probably most likely will make fifth a Champions League spot, which most likely means that we'll get into the next Champions League. But talking about the COVID stuff, I reckon they should move it to somewhere like London or something.
Sorry, say that last bit again, Harrison. Sorry.
I think they should take it to London or something, popular place in England, but not filled with COVID.
I think as well, because there is going to be so limited fans there. You know, you would expect some local Turkish fans to be there as part of it, if under normal circumstances. But if that can't happen, it is just a venue to host a game, isn't it? So it would make sense for me. Where's the Europa League final? Sorry, Ewan's joined us late as always, but I don't know. I have to look up where the Europa League final is well. But again, you know, that would come under consideration depending on the country's COVID situation at the time. Obviously, United playing a team from Spain. Could it be somewhere neutral in either the UK or Spain, or maybe in France, kind of somewhere in the middle, where things seem to be a bit more under control? But something to consider. I'm just throw it out there, lads. I think City are going to do the unofficial treble before Ewan and the rest of United fans shoot me down. I fancy them to beat Chelsea in the final. I fancy them to beat Chelsea this weekend and finish off the league. And obviously, the League Cup is already in the bag. So I think it's going to be a very, very special season for my club this week. This next couple of weeks ahead. Anyone got anything they want to add on Europe at the moment?
Yes. The Europa League final is going to be in Gdansk in Poland.
Gdansk in Poland, okay, right. Well, to be fair, that isn't a million miles away from either Spain or from England. And again, I don't know what the rates are like in Poland at the moment, but maybe that's a sensible choice to leave it there. It just seems a bit obscure and a bit bizarre at the moment to still be thinking about Turkey when you know the situation there and it's two English clubs, okay. Right, we'll kick off the weekend's fixtures. Unfortunately, you've missed United in Europe. Just a quick side note, by the way, we haven't really mentioned United there. I think United put in a right performance in the first leg, they got the job done. I don't think Ewan or Ollie or any of the United fans on him cared that United lost the result last night. The job was done at Old Trafford, and Ollie finally gets over the line with his semi-final hoodoo, where I think he's lost his previous 4 semi-finals over the last 2 or 3 seasons. So whether this keeps Ollie in the job long term, I don't know. I don't think the club's owners and the fans will be happy with Europa Leagues going forward. It'll be more Champions Leagues and league position. But I do fancy United to be strong in the league next year and to challenge City and probably, obviously, Liverpool will come back stronger, I think, next year as well. Okay? Right, I'm going to start with Burnley. Burnley have got not a big game for them, really, to be honest, but Burnley versus Fulham, which is Monday evening. Burnley fans on it. It's at Fulham. Fulham desperately need the points. Desperately. Can you see Burnley coming away from Craven Cottage with anything, or is it going to be Fulham boosting the relegation hopes?
I think Burnley should be able to win it. I reckon 2-1 should be. I think it'll be a tight game in the first half, and Burnley will pull it away in the early second half. Woody to score. Woody's in form, isn't he? Yeah. Right, okay, so we're going with a 2-1 win at Craven Cottage. Who else? Jax isn't on the calls there, is he? So, you were the only Burnley representative, I think, there today. Right, so I'm looking at Freddie Stinson's not on the call, so I'll ignore the Leeds versus Spurs game. Bailey, an absolute dead rubber, if I've ever seen a dead rubber. Blackburn versus Birmingham. Nothing to play for. Are you going to score 5? Are you going to get beat 5 today? Weekend, sorry.
I think it's probably going to end up being like 1 or maybe 2-1 to Blackburn.
Okay.
But as you said, there's nothing to play for, so I don't see why we should have to put some of our better players out if we don't want them to get injured.
Tony Mowbray's last game in charge?
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. And the last thing I will say is, give me a 2-sentence review on how good you think Taylor Howard-Bellis has been since January.
Wait, Taylor Howard-Bellis, you said?
Centre half, yeah. Come from on loan from City.
Since he's joined us, in the transfer window, yeah, he's just performed brilliantly.
So if you had I know he's only on loan, and he gave an interview the other day where he says he's a City fan. He wants to be playing at City, but he knows his opportunities are limited. If there was an opportunity to sign, say, with Taylor Howard-Bellis going forward, do you think Blackburn would be interested in? Would he be interested in staying, do you think?
I think that Blackburn would probably buy in, because with our injuries in defence, I think we'll really need him.
Yeah.
To help us.
I think it would be a massive coup for the club if they got someone of that standard, because I think he's highly regarded in the game at youth level, Taylor, and he's obviously had a good half a season on loan at Blackburn. So, yeah, I watch it with interest over the summer as to how that develops, Bailey. So, good luck for Saturday. Let's go to Harrison. So, Harrison, you just made a good point. Excuse the bell 1 second. You just made a good point, and I think you're right in that if City or Chelsea are going to win the Champions League, who were already guaranteed. Chelsea not guaranteed, but looking likely to get a Champions League place. Does that then mean it drops to 5th? Right. So would it be that 4th and 5th have got to go through the qualifying stages then, depending on where Chelsea finish and enter at the 3rd stage? Right. Right. So that's great news for West Ham, isn't it? After a positive result as well at Burnley on Monday. So you've got Everton at home this weekend. Everton are a very strange team this season. Very, very strange team.
We are known for losing to Everton. I remember going to like 3 Everton's games. We only won 1. But I reckon we've been playing like exceedingly well. We've got Antonio back from last game. He scored 2, almost 3. I reckon we might just scrape a win like 2-1, 3-2, something like that.
Okay, so West Ham to edge it, and then you've got 3 games after that to try and secure that Champions League status. So all the very best. We look forward to seeing how that progresses over the next few weeks. Let's go to the Liverpool contingent, sat there in the shell suits and the afros and the honourable shirts. Southampton at home, lads. Southampton aren't going to go down, and they've got an FA Cup final in a week or two's time. Is it going to be the Mohamed Salah show? Is it like 2 hat-tricks from Mohamed Salah this weekend or what?
I don't know. I think we need the win. We're a game in hand. And if United win the Europa League, didn't it go down another spot?
Yeah, it does, because United then automatically go into the Champions League as the winner of the Europa League these days, don't they? Sorry, just 1 second there. I'm just thinking. I'm gonna have to look into this, because you could end up with 6 English teams in the Champions League then next year.
Yeah.
No, because United. No, that's wrong. Because United are going to finish second anyway, aren't they? At worst. So if United, no, only 5 tops. 5 tops. Because United would qualify twice basically. Champions League. Yes. Sorry, let's do it, boys. What you said about Liverpool? Game in
hand. We really need to win. I reckon Salah will win the show. Danny Ings will score and pack us in the first half. Second half will perform. Salah will score.
So I'm looking at the table here. So Liverpool 33, 54 points. But above them, you've got Tottenham on 56, having played a game more. West Ham 58, having played 34, and Chelsea 61. So I think the Champions League is gone. Personally, even with a game in hand. So you win a game in hand, you get to 57. You still then 6 points. Oh no, you're 4 points behind Chelsea. I think it's still tough. I think it's tough for Liverpool, but I think you're thinking you'll win big tomorrow, do you reckon?
Yeah, but I reckon if City beat Chelsea, that puts us 1 point.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point. I suppose this weekend's a big one then, because you've got a midweek game that no one else has got, which is the game in hand, I suppose. And you've got West Ham with a tough game against Everton, who are in that pack anyway. And then you've got, like you say, City with the dangling the carrot of could win the league if we beat Chelsea. You know, did it take it out of Chelsea midweek getting into the Champions League final against Madrid? You could probably argue the same for City. So, but it is at the Etihad, so I think you'd probably have to fancy City in that one. Right, so I won't speak much. I've said already, I think City will beat Chelsea. I'm going for City 3, Chelsea 0 on Saturday tea time. City to set the marker, and then have 3 weeks to focus on the Champions League and getting it right in Istanbul. I'll go with Ewan because he's not had to say much today. United have got 4 games in 8 days. Quite tough games as well. So you've got Villa away this weekend. You've got Leicester at home, Liverpool at home, and then is it Europa League final? So a tough period coming up for United. Start with Villa at Villa Park. Win, lose, draw, play ugly. What?
We won. In good form, Cavani. This thing. But I don't see that.
on against then I'll go for a steady 2-0 against Leicester. I think we'll carry on doing what we've done. Playing well. And also bring up Fulham, and I think Liverpool's going to be a tough game, but 1-1 I think it's going to be boring. And yeah, 1-1.
I don't agree with the boring bit, but I can't see any other result other than a draw with United and Liverpool, to be honest, at this stage of the season. It's got a draw written all over it for me. So that's the weekend ahead. Right. I'm conscious that last week I was going to try and set as a bit of a topic, and unfortunately the week has gotten away with us. But I'm looking for new features all the time. So something that's just come into my head is football songs, sharing of our favourite football songs, as long as they're clean and no swear words and dirty sayings in it, because some of my favourite football songs have many swear words in it. So have a think about that for next week in advance as well. And we'll try and introduce a couple of other features in there. What I would like to start doing as well is that as we return to football over the next few weeks and months, the Premier League's letting 10,000 fans in, is pictures of you at football events, pictures of you that we can display playing football, for instance. We've got the six-a-side tournament coming up for school, which I mentioned the other day. So there'll be some pictures that we can share and build a bit of a football archive of our experiences around football. So anything you can contribute towards that would be great. And in order to get access to this podcast going forward, next season, you have to join the Premier League Fantasy Football League. Okay, there is no ifs, no buts. If you're not on it already, you need to enter a fantasy football team. We will turn it into a big competition throughout the year and see who knows their football in terms of putting the right players in at the right time. That sounds okay? Yeah. Anyone got anything else they want to add? This is an open forum, so I know I set the agenda, but you got anything you want to talk about football before we finish?
Is that Liverpool score behind you?
Sadly it is. I'm conscious that it's between a diehard United and diehard City fan. Unfortunately, Miss Southwood's horrendousness is limited to that corner of the office, but unfortunately, yes, it is in the office. What you will see is that there is a City scarf up there alongside an Accrington Stanley pendant as well. So we are a multi-team office down here. Thankfully, we've not let Mr. Delve put any United rubbish up down here so far. So, right, boys, we will leave it there. I'm conscious it is 9:28, so I want to get you back to your lessons. Can I say thank you, as always, for everyone for taking part. I saw your picture Miss Alcott sent through before, which was great. Can we have, maybe 1 week before we finish, we can have all of us in shirts, and then we'll have a picture together, I think. Social distance, but together. So put like a squad goals image up as the new group icon, so it doesn't have to be a cartoon version of me at the top. That would be great. Thank you for your contributions. Good luck for your team for the weekend. Come on, sister, for the league. I will look forward to seeing you all in and around school today, next week, and podcast next Friday, okay? Adios, boys. Stay online, please.